And now we have heat for Torstein Horgmo, Sage Kotsenburg, two riders that have followed fairly similar paths, bringing the slopestyle ethos into the backcountry.
Yeah, and Torstein, the only rider who's out here on a true twin. Be interesting to see how he gets on.
It's tough to put into words, but I feel like I've already, as cheesy as it sounds, but like just being here in the first place is a huge win for all of us. And just being able to be here, having the opportunity to be here and be able to ride these mountains and this terrain in itself, to me, is fantasy boarding and as something you dream about. Yeah, for me as a rider, having worked with these endemic brands and companies for so long, like Oakley, Capita, Union, Norona, and GoPro as well. They've been supporters of me and my journey for so long, and it's really cool to see them also partner up with NST and help fuel this vision of Rice and company, and to make sure this thing keeps going, because it's so dear to all of us, and it's such a positive thing in snowboarding. It's a collective, and it really brings us all together as an industry as well as just the riders on tour. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Now, I don't want to oversimplify anything, but I guess what is so interesting about this matchup between these two is that both of these riders have come from such intense competitive backgrounds and are both very, very mentally strong. Torstein has ridden basically everything before.
And he's spent a bit of time in Alaska as well. It may not be his natural habitat, but he's definitely got Alaska smarts, and he proves it straight off the bat with a big spread eagle method.
Torstein also has the mental game just so unlocked. You can see him, he's riding very confidently through this spine.
Yeah, really, really attacking that, bouncing either side of it, killing his speed, but using it with turns. Like, there's no side slipping here.
Dropping that band and heading into this rider's left side section.
It's the same transition we saw Travis make. Like cutting across that big guts of the chute and getting himself back up onto the top of this spine. Little front one.
And going cab one into the gut right there as he approaches this next spine. There's a calculation.
Sizable as well.
Yes.
Now he's got his eye on something, hasn't he?
Backside 360, finding the landing perfectly and heading right into this next, front side air off of that hit.
It was proper, that was Arthur Longo, wasn't it? It was like an Alaskan side hit.
Yeah, that was beautiful. He's so calculated, but yet so fluid. I mean, Torstein really is just a force.
You've hit the nail on the head perfectly there. That was a very, very clever run from Torstein. I wasn't sure in Jackson whether he'd be up for getting back into a competition format, but he is so clever when he pulls on a bib.
And I think that's never left him. He's brought that same mentality to filming over the years. And so seeing him in this element, he has slid right back in, very simply. But of course, the same can be said in a lot of ways in his own life for Sage Kotsenburg, who really turns it on. We saw it in Jackson. Under pressure, he excels.
Yeah, I mean, winning in Alaska would be crazy. It's the last stop of the tour. It's kind of, the holy grail of snowboarding up here. It's where everyone looks at someone, their line riding capability, I think, is really heralded in snowboarding. So taking a win up here would be unreal, especially against, the crew up here is pretty next level. A lot of guys and ladies that have spent some serious time up here. So it'd mean a lot. Yeah, so this is my third time to Alaska. I've been 2 times before. Always with a crew that hasn't been here that much, so not much experience. I'm really looking forward to spending time with Trav, Torstein, Mikkel, for people have spent in some serious time up here, and just picking their brains and sitting back and listening and just taking it all in. Yeah, I wouldn't be here without my sponsors, and this tour wouldn't be here without sponsors, especially ones that have been in snowboarding so long. Oakley, K2, GoPro, BOA, they back me so hard, and I got big love for them. They let me do what I love, and it's been my dream as a kid to be here and standing in front of this camera talking about, Alaska, and at the last stop, competing with Travis Rice is just something I would have just dreamed about when I was 14. So very hyped.
Sage Kotsenburg enrolled in the University of Alaska. His tutor today is Travis Rice at the moment, highest score on the board so far, but Sage dropping in, one of the hardest working men in snowboarding, who makes it look effortless.
Strong start on the top of that spine too, dropping in very much with authority from Sage.
He's really hacking into that, isn't he? You can see when there's an urgency and a real energy to the riders, when they want to get their teeth stuck into this terrain.
And they know that the snow is so perfect right now, that great combination of smooth, but yet with enough density to provide them with some pop.
Okay, working out. Same zone that we saw Ben Ferguson rip through. Coming down onto spine number 2. Great snow. Really deep through here.
Okay, really working out this triple section. Oh, opening up something new with the front 3, landing a little bit on the tail right there.
He managed to hold on to it, didn't he? So front 3, back 3 combo through that critical section. And then out onto the apron at the bottom here. And the big hits have gone, so he got a bit of meat in the middle of the run there, but felt like he burned quite a bit up top.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the judges' reaction to this is going to be. Again, I think Torstein started off with that beautiful kicked out method right at top and really was navigating this with a lot of strength from the very beginning.
Well, interestingly, for 2 of the guys who are on like twin tip boards, Sage has got slightly, I think he's got a bit more volume in the nose than tail, but that's the only switch riding we saw. We saw that little link, and I do think if we're working on the same messages we saw from judges in Baldface, I think that switch combination there between the front one and the cab one is going to work really, really hard for Torstein.
I agree. That's part of what the Alaskan terrain also naturally kind of contributes to, is the judges want to see the, hit-to-hit riding, and this is a natural kind of incarnation of that aesthetic.
Yeah, there's that front 3 from Sage, and it was in a critical part of the face, and he linked it quickly into this back 3, so you have got a good combo there. But I feel like the top of the run was just a little bit light. But let's see what the judges make of it.
So sick. It's unreal.
Almost pulled my airbag halfway down without an avalanche. Too much. Too much. Can't take it.
Oh, respect the half cab.
Thank you. Yeah, that was
How's this stuff down
extremely
here?
blind.
Snow pretty good?
So the snow's so stable. The volume of snow we've had in the last couple of days, 60 centimetres, almost 2 feet. And there are only a couple of areas of instability on the sunnier aspects. So Torstein Horgmo, 85 over Sage Kotsenburg, 63. Confirmation of what we're seeing from the judges there in terms of that switch repertoire and trick linking.
It'll be sick.
Hit the lander.
Yup.
Okay, so very, very tight between Torstein Horgmo and Sage Kotsenburg at the moment. Torstein leading. Torstein translates in Norwegian as Thunderstone, if you're interested.
Really?
Yeah, very apt name. Wow. I'm not 100% sure. That's the rough translation. Beautiful butter!
Gosh, starting things off just absolutely wonderfully into a nice hack.
And when Torstein's tail feathers up, you know you're in for something special. So barreling along that spine. We've seen people creeping along there. Torstein just letting it run. And it may be loose, but the judges love it when you're riding right on the limit. That's what they want to see.
So right on. That truly matters because it shows a mastery of the line that you've chosen and what you're riding.
And he's the risk factor there. When you're on a spine moving that quickly, there's that little 180. So Travis and Torstein both really working the switch.
Oh, switchback 1 right there.
Beautiful. Absolute thing of beauty. And then onto that. Holding on. Thought he might be carrying enough speed. Oh, and he's looked straight across at this nose, hasn't he?
Okay, what does Torstein have in store for us right now? And he's going big backside 720 and nails it. Okay, switch back 1, backside 720, just murking through the top section. This is going to be a very solid run.
And he's still got vertical to play with down here. Stretches out a method as he makes his way down onto the apron and across onto the glacier.
Okay, things just got real. Torstein just, pushed it into Torstein gear right there.
Well, you think in filming terms, you may string 2 hits together. Very occasionally, someone will get 3, but one of them's almost certainly a setup trick. He just put down a full run top to bottom we had that butter up at the top. Then you've got that incredible little front 1 to switch backside 1, and then a back 7 down at the bottom. That is huge. Sage Kotsenburg is in the pressure cooker right now.
Get it, Sage.
Headphones are on. He's got some music.
I mean, if there is someone that can handle that kind of steam from a pressure cooker, it is Sage Kotsenburg. I mean, he does so well when the heat is turned on. And look at this. He's not holding back at all.
We've seen so much pace out of Torstein, out of Travis. They're all starting to pick up on this energy that's going into the venue right now. And Sage really attacking this. That is confidence.
And this is just quarterfinals. This is just quarterfinals.
We've got another 2 venues to go yet for semis and finals. So you can see bit tracked on the top of this spine now, so he's having to use that heel edge, but he's setting up. Oh, a little bit short, clings to the tail there, creeps into the transition. You can feel how hard he's working. He's out of breath now. And you see the gradient as well, how close the snow is to his chest. It is steep through there.
Okay.
Confidently boosting into that pocket. And right up again onto the nose of this one. Almost a little pump through there, wasn't it? Of turns. This is where Travis was switched, so we know there's a big trick in here.
Oh.
Back 7, he holds onto it. Little bit of a deck chair, collapsed a tiny bit, but I don't think the judges are going to dock him too much for that.
No.
Okay, so really intense run, but right now, I think just the technicality, the sheer technicality of Torstein's run is going to pay huge dividends.
Yes. I mean, Torstein had, what do you have, 3 hits in his run to Sage's 1 main hit plus a straight air.
You had that really nice butter up at the top as well.
Yes.
It was a really good little flourish just to wake the judges up. Let's take a look at it. So you see straight off the bat, there it is.
I mean, this, I think, is one of the strongest runs that we've seen so far today.
Yeah, I expect to see this. It's got to be, if it's not in the 90s or close to Travis on 90, I'll be very surprised. That switchback 1.
Yeah, the switch turns into that. I mean, that is a very consequential situation right there. And God, just pulling through that back 7, I mean, that was perfect.
And that hit was almost, the takeoff on that back 7 was almost heel side leaning. You wanted to bite in on your heels. He was going the hard way off his toes there.
Oh, excuse me, I'd forgotten about this big back 3 that Sage did too. So he did have another element, and that's massive.
It is huge, but you look at that and this backside 720, and he's backseat on both of those landings, really tail heavy. And we've just seen when you've got that direct comparison between him and Torstein, then those landings are going to be a point of difference for the judges.
Exactly, those nuances are going to be very important.
Okay, both men pretty quiet on this one. 92 for Torstein Horgmo, 82 for Sage Kotsenburg. We both agreed on that. That score had to challenge Travis's 90. And we have a new highest score. Torstein Horgmo will advance to the semifinals, where he'll face Mark McMorris.
Incredible matchup from those two, though. That was really fun to watch.